Welcome to the Brown Carpet Podcast. My name's Corey Farrell.
And I'm Josh Groom.
And Josh, question for you.
Hit me.
What do we actually do on this podcast?
Corey, each week we take a weird news story.
Yes.
And we twist it into a demented pitch for a movie.
Oh, that sounds terrific.
Isn't it fantastic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like the best idea for a podcast I've ever heard, to be honest.
Well, it's not over. There's more.
Oh my God.
Once we're done with that, the listeners can jump online onto the Facebook, where they'll find a poll and they can vote for the one that they like the most.
Is that all, though? Does anything else happen after that?
No, mate, there's heaps
Oh
more.
my God.
Once that's gone down, we pick a winner at the end of the week, and that winner gets turned into a movie poster.
Oh my, what more would you want in your lives?
What more could you possibly need?
That's great.
Hey, we've also got a website. You can check us out at www.thebrowncarpetpod.com, where you can listen to the entire back catalogue of this nonsense.
Not to mention the usual nonsense, Twitter. You can slide into our DMs on Instagram. And don't forget, you can email us at thebrowncarpetpod@gmail.com if you want to suggest a weird news story headline that you would like us to movify. Movify?
Movify.
Movify.
It's a new word.
And then we'll give you a shout out and we email you a poster maybe, even if you... I don't know. Depends how... I don't want to promise anything.
Yeah, no promises.
No promises. Just do it.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
He jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted handcuffs like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice. Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals.
Shut up. No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Okay, well here we are, EP10, and we have a new mic. Josh got us a new mic, so it's a new dawn.
New Dawn, episode 10.
Yeah.
Also, coming up, I probably should announce it next week, episode 11, we're going to have our first guest.
Sally Lopez, yeah?
Sally Lopez will be joining us. Bring her comedy stylings to the table.
For an all Florida special, I believe.
Florida seems to be the home of weird news.
Weird. It's the weird capital of the world.
There's so much weird shit going down in Florida. It's hard to keep track of.
If you can find a weirder place in the world than Florida, please let us know.
I actually tried, because I thought once we tapped into the Florida gold mine, I'm figuring, well, Scotland's got to be weird, but nothing even comes close to Florida.
Florida is the balls of America, isn't it?
Yeah, the dangly ball sack of America.
Weird and wonderful. So we're going to do a Florida special. Actually... To be fair, probably every episode after this will be about Florida.
Yeah, pretty much. It's an absolute Pandora's box of strange.
Because I've got a story from 2015, and so I haven't even scratched the surface of the new Florida.
There is so much going down in Florida right now.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, let's get to this. Episode 10. Should we do paper, rock, scissors?
Right, yes, let's do this.
On the count of 3. Hang on. What are you thinking about doing? You're going to do rock, aren't you? I can
am.
see in your eyes you're going to do rock. Don't do rock. It's a bad decision.
I know.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Telepathy.
Okay.
Telepathy wins.
Corey Farrell will go first. Corey, what did you find in the news this week?
Well, Josh, I found a doozy. I say that word too much lately. I don't like it. I found a really good one this week. It's a really weird one. I'll read the headline. It's Florida, as we discussed. Florida man twerks on cop car after learning of an impending vampire attack. So, no drugs involved in this story.
Surely not.
Christian Jarecki was having an out-of-sorts day on April 7th, and the proof is in the security footage. The 44-year-old Florida...
Oh, there's video of this.
We will post it. It's amazing. The 44-year-old Florida man pulled up behind a police vehicle with his radio pumping Hall & Oates, then climbed on top of the police car and danced and twerked like a maniac.
He twerked
for
to
6
Hall &
minutes
Oates.
straight. Yeah.
It's not really a twerking soundtrack.
No, it isn't. And it's Rich Girl. He's a rich girl, if you know too, honey. So that's not even the most banging tune. It's all a bit lighthearted until Jarecki starts yanking the windshield wipers off of the vehicle.
Ooh.
Apparently then Radecki is no longer entertained by his own dancing. He moves to the hood of the vehicle and immediately rips off the windshield wipers.
What are the cops doing in the meantime?
I think no one really has noticed him yet. This is like...
He's just on a cop car twerking to Rich Girl and no one's noticed.
The cop car is in the cop car's home driveway.
Oh, so the cops aren't inside.
So this is like security footage of the guy's house.
All right.
Radecki then disappears from the shot, only to reappear moments later carrying an American flag that he took from the neighbour's house. He waves it about and walks around.
It's a goddamn patriot.
In the next shot of the video, the police show up to remedy the surreal situation. So the cops rock up. So what was the motivation behind this truly bizarre behaviour, Josh? I'm sure you're wondering right now.
Methamphetamine.
Vampires. Naturally.
That's my second guess.
Radecki told police that when he opened his door in the morning, he saw a fanged woman threaten him. There was about to be a human sacrifice.
Wow.
Radecki made the conscious decision to go to the sheriff of Nottingham to help stop the slaughter of the small children.
As in Robin Hood's Sheriff of Nottingham?
Yes, I think that's... yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I think he just saw a sheriff's car and just assumed that any sheriff is the Sheriff of Nottingham. Jarecki failed to summon the Sheriff of Nottingham, but he has law enforcement's attention. He was arrested for the cop twerking and also for some petty larceny as well.
I got a lot of questions about that.
Yeah.
So by twerking to Rich Girl by Hall & Oates, that, in his mind, would summon the Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood.
He wanted to get the Sheriff of Nottingham's help. He wasn't trying to summon him. In my film, I summon him.
But how would twerking to Hall & Oates... So I'm trying to make sense of it, but clearly...
I think he's assuming that the sheriff is the Sheriff of Nottingham in his mind.
Okay.
It's just a sheriff's car.
Oh, right.
And he's saying, I've got to go to the Sheriff of Nottingham,
twerk on him,
to Hall & Oates,
yep,
and then stop the vampires and save the children.
Okay, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yep. So do you have a title for this movie adaptation of this weird
I've got
situation?
two.
You got two. Talk me through it.
The first one is very literal. Hall & Oates saves Florida.
Okay. Yep.
And the other one is Baby Got Backula.
Nice. All right. They're both good. What sort of film are we talking about? Is this a comedy film? Because if so, the second one is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I think it's a comedy.
Okay.
Let's go get Baby Got Backula. It sounds good.
Yep.
Shall we start?
Please.
We open on the main street of some backwater town in Florida. There is Basil Dress Shop.
I think that's going to be the opening line of every story on this show from now on.
What's that?
We open in the back streets of Florida.
Totally. There is Basil Dress Shop, played by Simon Pegg. A 44-year-old conspiracy theorist wearing an Akubra hat made entirely of aluminium foil. Basil is attempting to hand out flyers. No one is buying what he's selling,
Hand out flyers?
Yeah.
Flyers?
Flyers.
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 Okay.
A group of teens walk past and smack the bundle out of his hands. The camera follows the flyer through the air until it rests in the gutter. We see it up close and the words, Vampire Apocalypse in bold font. Defeated Basil walks off down the street.
Okay.
Cut to a messy apartment. We see the place hasn't been cleaned for a good long while. The walls are covered in Hall & Oates posters and sheet music. The floors aren't much better, except it's records, tapes and CDs. All Hall & Oates. Seemingly poking its head out from all the clutter is a small TV set. A news reporter is describing a Florida-wide child abduction epidemic. This sparks the interest of Basil, who is busy listening to the song Man-Eater backwards for more clues. Before the news reporter can act, Before the news report finishes, Basil's laptop dings with an email notification. Bing! Well done.
Thanks.
It's an email from none other than Daryl Hall and John Oates. It starts off with the lyrics to the chorus of Private Eyes. Then it reads, We've been watching you.
You're saying this shit like people should know the Hall & Oates back catalogue. Are you
Private
familiar?
Eyes.
Cheers.
I'm watching you.
Okay.
Cool. Everyone knows Hall & Oates. Come on, Josh.
I don't think they do.
They probably don't, actually, yeah.
No, they don't at all.
It reads, We've been watching you. You are the chosen one. You know what to do. Summon the Sheriff of Nottingham. Move on the morrow. For some reason, it got Shakespearean at the end.
Of course.
Basil is both elated and terrified all at once. The weight of Florida is on his shoulders.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. In the middle of the night, Basil can't sleep. The doorbell rings.
Bing bong.
You and the sound effects.
Yeah.
A woman in black stands there, played by Angelina Jolie. She bares her fangs before warning Basil of a child sacrifice.
And who's playing Basil?
Simon Pegg.
Good.
The woman turns into bats and flies off into the night sky.
God damn it.
Yeah. Cut to an early morning suburban street. We see a sheriff's car parked in a driveway of what looks like a typical all-American middle-class home. In the distance, we can hear tyres screeching and music getting louder. Nice. As it gets louder, we cut to Basil driving like a bat out of hell behind the wheels, blaring Rich Girl on the stereo. She's a rich girl, and you know too far, and you know it don't matter anyway. You can yeah, you get the idea. Basil turns around the street corner before screeching to a stop behind the sheriff's car in the driveway. Basil exits the car.
I know what's going to happen next.
Rich Girl, still banging, and with a determined look, climbs on top of the sheriff's SUV. Once on top, Basil inhales a deep breath, looks around before launching into a frantic twerk routine, the likes of which not seen outside the dance halls of the Caribbean.
He's working himself into a ladder.
As he reaches the peak of his shaman-like twerkathon, something strange happens. The sky goes dark, and like a strike of lightning, a man appears.
It's the sheriff?
He is dressed in a futuristic sheriff's outfit. Good
Futuristic?
work. Yeah.
I thought he was from the oldie...
No, this is future sheriff.
Future sheriff. Robocop.
The mysterious man, played by David Harbour.
Who?
David Harbour, the sheriff in Stranger Things.
Oh, right. the casting of Stranger Things
in
continues.
every week.
Yeah.
In a deep voice says, I am the Sheriff of Nottingham. Let's own these vampire scum. The sheriff smiles at Basil and cocks his shotgun. After our hero Basil successfully unlocks the vampire's one weakness, which was twerking to Hall & Oates on a cop car, remember?
That's a weird kryptonite.
It is. The film ends with a super slow motion montage of Basil and the sheriff mowing down walls of invading vampires. The children of Florida sleep safe again. For now.
And justice is served. It's pretty bizarre, again. So I thought the Sheriff of Nottingham was from the Robin Hood mythology.
He is. And I interpreted him thinking that any sheriff was a Sheriff of Nottingham. In his mind, he was like, I have to find the Sheriff of Nottingham. Saw the sheriff's cop car.
Right.
And interpreted that as the Sheriff
projecting.
of Nottingham. Yeah.
Okay.
He's projecting his own delusions onto that.
That's
how I saw it.
Okay. Have you got a tagline for us?
All in a day's twerk. So the cast is Angelina Jolie is the vampire woman.
Yep.
Basil,
Very small role for her.
Very small role. She's in it for 30 seconds.
Yep.
Not even, like 15 seconds.
Should get her cheap for that.
Yeah. Basil Dress Shop is played by Simon Pegg.
Yep.
And the Sheriff of Nottingham is David Harbour. Really, I mean, it's pretty lo-fi until that last shot.
Yeah, it really ramps up there with the slow motion.
That's a big effect shot. So
yeah, a lot of vampires.
maybe 3 million? Maybe 2 million?
Oh, I think you need a bit more for that last
You really?
sequence. Yeah. If you're going balls in for it.
Let's say 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And, the soundtrack has to be Hall & Oates.
Right. And is there any more information on the twerking dude in reality? I'm really confused about what his motivations were, what drugs he was on.
They didn't say.
Arrested? Was he arrested?
He was arrested, and then he was released on bond, but the bond was revoked a month later after he was caught committing petty larceny.
So he's not on the streets anymore.
I guess he's locked up. I mean, this is 2015. I'd like to check in on this guy.
Yeah, I think we should do a follow-up.
If you know Christian Jarecki,
If you are Christian Jarecki,
please
give us a call.
let us know you're okay.
Yeah.
We're worried about you, Christian.
We're concerned, mate.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. All you other brothers can't deny. When a girl walks in with the nitty-bitty waist and a round thing up in your face, you get sprung.
Mr. Groom,
Mr. Farrell.
what have you got for us this week?
Usually we go for these little niche stories, little nuggets around the fringes of the news world. This week, the story that I chose is actually a fairly big news story that you're probably already aware of. This is from January 13th. False missile attack warning plunges Hawaii into panic and chaos. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So there was an emergency alert text message sent out to all the residents of Hawaii. Let me read you the news story. A bogus news alert that a ballistic missile was heading straight for Hawaii, plunging residents into a full-blown panic on Saturday, was issued by mistake when an employee pushed the wrong button, the state's governor said. The emergency alarm sent to cell phones just before 8:10 a.m. said in all caps, "Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill."
That's some serious shit.
That's a rough way to start your day.
Yeah.
Then came the take shelter warnings from all of Hawaii's TV stations. It took almost 40 minutes before the warning was rescinded, a period of sheer panic that saw people hugging their loved ones goodbye. Others fell to their knees and prayed in the streets. So the place turned into madness, yeah?
Yeah, understandably.
So it then came out, I mentioned there that it was human error. So some bloke pressed the wrong button.
That's a bad day at work.
There was a follow-up story, actually, that apparently the bloke didn't get fired. He just basically, they changed. He's not allowed to be in that room anymore. They've moved into another section. Yep. So my story is based around that bloke.
Real quick, before we dive in.
Yep.
I mean, that's like one job that if you make a mistake, it's pretty gnarly. Like, not like a meteorologist.
Yeah.
You get the weather wrong.
Oh, well, they get the weather wrong every day. Doesn't matter.
Like,
It's part of your job to get it wrong.
Yeah. What'd you do?
So the title of my story is Rogerpocalypse.
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 His name's Roger?
Yes. A story is about Roger Truffleson, to be played by Seth Rogan. He's a hard-working, well-meaning, but clumsy doofus. So Roger's finishing off his day shift at the Honolulu Emergency Alert Headquarters.
Yep.
He looks up at the clock. It's 5:58 p.m. 2 minutes till knock-off time. Greg Delilah, played by Matt Damon, walks into the office. He's Roger's co-worker and there to take over for the night shift. They have a quick catch-up chat while Roger gathers his things together. Roger pops in his headphones and scrolls his iPod to his favourite song, All Star by Smash Mouth. Somebody once told me. Greg surprises him by going in for an enthusiastic and unexpected high five. Roger sheepishly holds out his hand and Greg delivers a powerful high five, causing Roger to slip, and we see his butt land squarely on the laptop keyboard.
Oh, no.
The computer beeps and a prompt window appears on the screen. Neither Roger or Greg notice this. Roger steadies himself on the chair but slips again, and this time his iPod drops onto the laptop keyboard and then onto the floor. The computer beeps once again and the prompt window disappears. They both reach for the iPod at the same time and they manage to headbutt each other on the way down. It's a goddamn comedy of errors. They apologise to each other, slightly dazed from the impact, and Roger leaves. So then we follow Roger. He arrives home and he's greeted by Beavis, his large, dumb but extremely affectionate St. Bernard. "You want to go for a walk, boy?" Sets Beavis into a joyful frenzy. He spins, bounces and waggles with chubby canine joy. Roger and Beavis are out on their favourite walking track, the one that winds its way up to Diamond Head Lookout. There's still a few hours of daylight left and the sun is slowly sinking towards the horizon. Beavis drops a big steamy deuce while making awkward eye contact with Roger.
They do that.
Yeah, they do. They look right at you. It's really unsettling. Roger picks it up in a plastic bag, ties it, and they walk on. Rounding the corner, they come across an unusual sight. It's Father Gary and Sister June having an energetic intercourse in the middle of the walking trail. Roger stops in his track. Gary and June, played by Tom Hanks and Juliette Lewis, are a priest and a nun from Roger's local church. They seem to have both decided to cease celibacy immediately.
Yeah. What else are you going to do?
Yeah, might as well get at it. Father Gary notices they're being watched. Rather than stop boning, he shouts at Roger, "Make peace, my boy. The world is ending. Do what you need to do." Roger is dumbstruck. He has no idea how to respond to this.
Oh, he doesn't have sex with a dog.
Before he can... Mate, oh, your mind is wrong. Before he can answer, Sister June, also while continuing to hump, shouts at him, "You wouldn't have any Molly by any chance?" Roger can barely muster a no before averting his eyes and walking past the
I love how the
copulating
nun
couple.
knows, like, street terms for MDMA.
She's down. She's wanted this opportunity all along. So Beavis and him walk past. Beavis doesn't give a shit. He's just happy to be on the walk.
Yeah.
When they arrive at the lookout, there's a couple of elderly Japanese tourists up there. The man has a small digital camera on his selfie stick. He snaps a nice two-shot of his wife and him with a scenic view of Hawaii behind them. The Japanese man then places the camera down on the ground, takes his wife by the hand, gives her a little kiss, and together they step off the edge of the lookout, plummeting to their death.
Shit!
Roger is stunned. He runs to the edge and looks down, but they are gone. "What the fuck is happening?" he asks. His head is spinning.
Oh.
He drops the bag of Beavis's poop. Looking up, he notices something weird. From here, he can see all of Honolulu and Waikiki, and bad things are happening down there. There's a couple of fires burning. He can hear gunshots and screams. And after a moment, a gas station explodes. It seems that chaos is taking over. He turns back to Beavis, who is sitting happily like a good boy. From the trail, they hear an approaching vehicle with loud music blaring. Suddenly, a convertible appears, travelling at top speed, with the stereo blasting out "Don't Fear the Reaper" by the Blue Oyster Cult. Piloted by two young
Cowbell.
ladies.
All you hear is cowbell.
It's just clang, clang. Piloted by two young ladies, it's moving fast and headed straight for him. He steps aside and the vehicle accelerates as it ramps off the edge of the lookout and sails out over the abyss.
Oh.
One final epic voyage. Beavis is puzzled. He tilts his head at Roger as if to ask for an explanation. Roger takes out his phone. There is one text message and 37 missed calls from work. He opens a text. It reads, "Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill." He hangs his head. Oh, fuck me. He closes the message. A notification of 37 missed calls from work stares back at him. This is very bad. The phone starts ringing. It's work. He looks at the ringing phone, frozen with fear. On the third ring, he hurls the phone off the lookout and we watch it fly away, the ringtone slowly fading into quiet. He looks at Beavis. "Come on, boy, let's go home." They walk off down the track, leaving nothing but Beavis's large turd in a bag, symbolically framed beneath the glorious Hawaiian sunset.
Perfect.
Thanks, mate.
You're not going to worry about the poo at that point.
So the tagline for my film is, "He had one job."
He literally had one job.
He had one job and he fucked it.
He basically butt dialed a missile warning.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how would you even do that, like, in reality? To set off a ballistic missile alert to all of Hawaii's residents.
It's not going to be one keystroke on a keyboard.
It's not just one.
It's going to be a series of...
Confirmed. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you really sure you want to, like...
Yeah.
He was really not paying
You
attention
download
that day.
free basic software and you get those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like just shitty iTunes or something. It's just like...
I got virus protection if I download porn. Like, this shit's insane.
Yeah.
All right, so the soundtrack, we've got All Star by Smash Mouth, Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult, and then an original score by Apocalyptica. They're a cello metal band from Finland. A score that kind of plays into the whole thing. Cast-wise, we got Seth Rogan playing Roger.
Yep.
Matt Damon as Greg. Tom Hanks as Father Gary, and Juliette Lewis as Sister June. I think we could do it for about 10 million.
I loved the priest section.
Priest getting it on.
Throwing away their beliefs.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
You got 40 minutes to live. You might as well shag, bone, and do all the drugs.
I agree.
So budget, I was figuring we could do it for about 10 million bucks. It's low budget.
Yeah.
It's a disaster movie that doesn't show the disaster, just the dude that caused it.
I'd love to see like in the post credits of like everyone cleaning themselves up after they realise it was a fake wedding.
Yeah,
So you've got a conversation between the priest.
So many apologies.
Or she's coming down off Molly or something. You're having a bad time.
Shit has come down. All right, that was episode 10. We have 2 films for you to think about. We have Corey's film,
Baby God Backula!
and my film, Rogerpocalypse. Jump onto the Facebook page. You'll find a poll pinned to the top of the page. Vote for the one that you think is the least shithouse. That will be brownlit. That will have a movie poster created specifically for it.
Yep, and next week we've got our first ever guest, Josh.
Sally Lopez.
Comedian she's an actual comedian who's going to hopefully lift the whole bar of this show.
No doubt lift the tone immensely.
It couldn't get worse.
It could not possibly get worse.
So tune in next week.
See you, cunts.
Don't forget to flush. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, that'll do.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
He jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted headfirst like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice. Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals. Shut up!
No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Six?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Round Carpet Podcast.
Alrighty.
I need to wee-wee.
Oh, you don't.
I do a little bit.
Can you hold it?
Should I hold it? I might do this, though.
Don't do that.
Have you got, like, a bottle or something?
No, you're not going to piss in here in a bottle. How bad do you need to piss? You and your
Pretty
fucking
bad.
energy drinks, mate. You'll be the death of this podcast. Your heart, you're going to have heart palpitations.
You're drinking a beer. You can't talk.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be off the piss.
Cheers.
Cheers. You're a grown man. You'll be able to hold it in. All right, so.
All right. If I wet my pants during this, that's on you.